partner, Darch, her name is Carol Darch, and you're going to hear from her. Carol Darch and this defendant go in their patrol cars, 2 separate patrol cars, show up around the East Allen area. They actually park right next to a house that they believe to be 1203. They went to the wrong house first. There was a house just down the street, kind of diagonal from where Tatiana lives. And you guys are going to have an opportunity to see maps, photographs, and hear testimony from these witnesses, so you better orient yourself as to what we're talking about. So they park next to this house on the side, and then no lights, no sirens. They then go across the street, and unbeknownst to them, James Smith, that neighbor who had called, and his family were all sitting outside on the stoop, making sure everything was okay. Because they knew this house has a woman by herself and a young child. And the one thing you're going to learn about James Smith is he and his family own multiple houses on this street of East Allen. And East Allen's a little bit of a niche inside of the East Side. East Allen, the 1200 block where Tatiana and her family lived, across the street there are multiple houses, and those all belong to James Smith and his family. Right next door to Tatiana is an old church or mosque. Okay? There's no other houses right next to her. To her left, if you're looking at the house to the right, if you're coming outside the house to the left, you guys are going to see a very big lot, an open lot. Okay? So James Smith is the kind of neighbor that we all want. He's the kind of neighbor that pays attention, looks out for us. James Smith has lived in this area, and y'all will hear from him and learn this for 60 years. He's kind of like the mayor of this particular street, right? He's the guy that tells you your package is on the front door. He's the guy that watches out and knows everything about the neighborhood. He actually takes a particular pride. He's like the guardian of that particular area. He had called the non-emergency number before. Y'all will hear about that. So he's outside along with his other family members that live in all these houses, and they're watching. They're waiting for the police to show up and pull up and check. But they don't ever see a patrol car go to the front. They don't ever see lights. They don't ever hear anyone identify themselves. What they see is 2 figures go diagonally across the street, go up to the front door, peer inside, go to the side door, peer inside, and you guys are going to see they don't announce, they don't knock, they don't ring the doorbell, they don't step back and call for backup. They then go from the front to the side. They check either of those doors, those storm doors, to see if they're unlocked or locked. They then continue on to the side, walking right next to Tatiana's white car. They continue, and this defendant goes wide to the right of Yolanda's car. It's in that driveway. Darch, his partner, goes between the car, the dark car, and the house. And there's a bicycle right there. And Darch kind of hits that bicycle. It's Zion's bicycle. It's a little kid's bicycle. And at this point, Tatiana, who's sitting at her computer desk playing video games, hears something outside. To this point, she had no idea that the Fort Worth Police Department had even been called. And so you guys are going to learn that as she's sitting at her computer desk, she thinks, oh my God, it's your worst nightmare, right? Somebody's trying to break in your house, in your backyard. You're by yourself, and you got Zion. So she goes to her first, gets the gun out that she owns, and she walks up to the window with her gun. And she's looking outside. She's got her gun out, she's looking outside. You guys are going to hear from Zion, who was inside and watched this whole thing. Unbeknownst to her, the defendant and his partner were sneaking from the right side, coming around and looking at the back gate of that backyard. The defendant then proceeds to open that back gate, flashes flashlight all around the backyard. Tatiana sees flashlights. She's now heard noises and sees flashlights. She thinks, I'm going to have to protect us from whatever that is. She had no idea it was someone that is supposed to serve and protect. So as she goes up to the window, as she's looking outside, this defendant goes into the backyard, stands in front of the window. And you're going to see on this body camera that he turns, something catches out of the left of his eye, something catches. He sees something, he turns, and you will hear, put your hands up, show me your hands. And I'm talking about, show me your hands, put your hands up. It is not fast enough for Tatiana to process and follow the commands unknown strangers in the backyard, let alone fast enough for him to see anything in her hands. When you watch this body camera footage, pay attention to what this defendant says, what he does, what he doesn't do, and what he doesn't say. Because that's very important to this particular case. And we're going to watch the video over and over again throughout the course of this trial. So after this shot is fired, immediately his partner, Darch, says, we got to get in there. We got to get in there. Dean, we got to get in there. So at that point, they go from the backyard, out of the gate, around the cars, side of the house, back to the front, through the carport, in the front, in through the front door, start going through the house, straight inside, and you'll hear Darch say, put your hands up, Fort Worth Police, starts to finally announce as they're getting through the house into the back bedroom. The entire time that is happening, you will not hear this defendant ever say, go. He said, show me your hands. Put your hands up. He didn't say drop it. He didn't say go. And if they're about to rush into this house, he did not warn his partner that he had seen it go. So they go into the house. They rush to the back bedroom. They find Zion on the bed. Hysterical. Tatiana is face down. Darch immediately takes Zion from that room, takes him to the next room to get him out of there. Tries to calm him down. And so what does the defendant do when he gets in there and sees her? He doesn't do CPR. He doesn't put his hands over her chest to try to save her life. He doesn't do any of those things. Instead, what he does is he's looking around the room, his flashlight comes upon Tatiana's gun. And when we play that video, I want you guys to listen to the sigh and what he said next. Looks like we got nothing here. Thank God, right? The evidence is not going to show you at any point throughout that entire video that you watched that he ever says anything about seeing the gun in her hand. And when you watch that video and you see how fast this happens, there's no way. There's no way. So after they get inside, and he is looking around, he starts playing with her gun, trying to figure out how to turn off the light of the laser, trying to disarm it, sets it down, still not providing any kind of CPR or life-saving measures to her. And it's not until you hear at the very front, because they've called for medical help and other backup, when he hears those first few officers show up at that front door, because they announce Fort Worth Police, you're going to hear him say, "We're back here." And it's at that point he grabs a blanket and finally puts it on her chest. But it's too late. And it wouldn't have mattered if he would have put that on at the beginning and started doing CPR, because she had a hole in her heart. So it wouldn't matter. So they perform life-saving measures, and they spend 20 minutes trying to save her life. They did everything they possibly could. But they could not save her. She was pronounced. It's at that point you're going to hear about the investigation and what happens after that. You're going to hear about how Darsh, his partner, when all the different supervisors, the entire Fort Worth Police Department shows up out there at the scene, that Darsh does what's called a walkthrough of the scene. This is something that is done in police shootings. So she goes through and does a walkthrough. Here's where this happened, here's where that happened. She does not do that, though, until she gets the benefit of having her plea attorney there. And when I say plea attorney, I don't mean these two folks, not criminal defense attorneys, but attorneys that are provided to law enforcement by the associations. They get the benefit of having that attorney show up and be with them right after the shooting. So she does a walkthrough, explains what she has seen, what happened, from what she remembers. She's put into a patrol car, and then she is taken to the major case unit, which is a part of Fort Worth Police, and they investigate police-involved shootings, any incidents involving police. So the major case department has that particularized knowledge and training, and they handle these cases. So they did their own investigation. They interviewed Darsh 2 different times, went through what happened. They looked at that video over and over and over again, frame by frame, slowed it down. They met with multiple witnesses, medical personnel, went out to the scene. Crime scene is going to testify. They're going to talk to you about what they did out there at the scene. You're going to see a bunch of different photographs so that you guys can really see and envision this house and this backyard. They took measurements. They collected the guns from both from her house and from the defendant. And you're going to hear that after Major Case interviewed all of those witnesses, reviewed the 911 calls, the video, looked at all the photographs, were out there at the scene, that they determined that there was sufficient probable cause for an arrest warrant affidavit to be given to a felony district judge, just like this judge. And that judge signed an arrest warrant for this defendant to be arrested for murder. At the conclusion of this case, after you hear all of the witnesses that are going to testify, you listen to that 911 call, you look at those photographs, you watch that video as many times as you need to. Thank God we have it. After you look at all of the evidence in this case, you will be sure, beyond a reasonable doubt, that this is murder. You're gonna know that this is not self-defense. This is not a circumstance where they're staring at the barrel of a gun and he had to defend himself against that person or to protect against his partner. The evidence will support that he did not see a gun in her hand. This is not a justification. This is not a self-defense case. This is murder. Your home is supposed to be the one place on earth that you get to go to be safe, to seek shelter, to seek refuge. But for Tatiana Jefferson, her home was not her refuge. It was not her sanctuary or her safe place. It was her demise. And she left in a body bag because of what he did.
And so we're going to ask you to hold him responsible because that's what the law and the evidence demands. Thank you.
Mr. Neal, Mr.